Hey guys, what's up? Oh my god, I'm so sorry it's been so long. Like, literally, I am so sorry, but I've been so busy lately. For today's video, I am going to answer some of the Q&A questions that I asked you guys like 2-3 weeks ago on Instagram. Sorry this is so late. You guys asked me a bunch of questions on Instagram and I just have them on my computer. So let's just dive in. Let's just see like what kind of questions do we have? First one. What's your favorite song ever? That's a good question. My favorite kind of music is electro swing, and my favorite song ever is All Night Long by Parastellar. You should totally check it out. It's the best, you guys. Why did you choose to live in Turkey? I have a whole video on that. You can check out why I chose to live in Turkey. Why Izmir, and how many cities have you been to? Okay, that's a really good question. Why did I choose Izmir instead of Istanbul or something? So I'll tell you guys why I chose Izmir. It's actually kind of like about destiny. I was looking for au pair positions because you guys know I was an au pair, and I was looking on this website and I narrowed it down to like 2 different jobs, and one of them was in Istanbul and one of them was in Izmir. And the thing is like I didn't even know that one of them was in Izmir because after a certain point I kind of stopped checking which cities the jobs were in because like 90% of them were all in Istanbul. So after a while I just stopped checking. I was like, yeah, it's probably in Istanbul. And then I ended up choosing that Izmir job, and I didn't realize that it was actually in Izmir. So when I found out, I was like, oh shit, what do I do? Should I go to Istanbul or should I go to this other city, Izmir, I know nothing about? And I ended up researching Izmir a tiny bit, and I saw that it was like seaside and like in the west, and so I was like, nah, I'm gonna try Izmir, and that was the best decision. Like, if I had moved to Istanbul, I don't think I would have stayed in Turkey because Istanbul is just too big and hectic for me. Let's see. Benimle evlenir misin? You guys. When is your birthday? My birthday is March 28th, 1990. That's my birthday. What do you think about Turkish weddings? Turkish weddings are like crazy and beautiful, but way too big for me. Like, I could never have a wedding with 500 people. That's insane. How big is the expat community in Turkey? That's a good question. It depends on the city, obviously. I feel like it used to be a lot bigger. I feel like there used to be a lot more foreigners, but nowadays I don't really see that many. So honestly, I do wish there were more foreigners in Izmir, not just like young Erasmus students, but people like my age, but I don't see too many. But in Istanbul, I'm sure there's like so many expats. Have you ever read a Turkish book? Okay, one time I tried to read Yabancı by Albert Camus, and I think I got like 3 pages into it, and then I just gave up, but I was doing okay until those 3 pages. Like, I did a pretty good job. Did you ever visit Bursa? I have been to Uludağ. I went to Uludağ once, but I didn't actually see Bursa itself. En sevdiğin Türk yemeği ne? Ooh, okay, that's a good question. What's your favorite Turkish food? My favorite Turkish food, without a doubt, is taze fasulye. I love taze fasulye. I could eat that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Totally the best. But honestly, I could eat like anything, like sarma, dolma, kısır. I can eat it all. It's all my favorite. Anything vegan without tomatoes, I will totally eat. Okay guys, this question is really hard. Ailenin tepkisi ne oldu buraya taşınacağını söylediğinde taşınacağını. Okay, that was a hard question and I don't really understand it, but I think what this question is asking is like, how did your family react when you told them you were moving to Turkey? Which is a good question. They did not react well. kind of the reaction you would expect from that generation when their 20-year-old daughter was like, I'm moving to the Middle East. It was not received with warm welcome and support. No, not at all. Nope, no support with that one. Do you think to travel to Ankara? I've never been to Ankara, but I would like to see Anıtkabir, so maybe one day I will definitely go. Türkiye'de mutlu musun? Yeah, mutluyum. Why is your Instagram name like the football team? Okay, if you guys haven't figured that out, my Instagram name is like the football team. And I just picked that like to be funny, but whenever people ask me my name in Turkey, I always say like Chelsea, and they say like, what, Jessie? I say Chelsea. Jessie? Chelsea, you know, like the football team, like futbol takımı gibi, Chelsea football, Manchester, and finally it clicks, like they get it and they're like, Chelsea, yes. So that's why, like, I always have to explain my name like Chelsea, you know, like the football team. That's why my Instagram name is like the football team. Are you from Maine? I am from Maine. I was born in Maine. I grew up in Maine. Describe Izmir in 3 words. Wow, you guys have some really good questions. Okay, Izmir in 3 words. I would have to say like energetic, exciting, cool. Yeah, I would say those ones. Let's see. Do you watch 90 Day Fiancé? My mom and my sister and my brother-in-law and I watch 90 Day Fiancé all the time. We are addicted to that show. It is absolute trash, but it is the best. Like, come on, that is so addicting. It's reality TV, but that's such a good show. Oh my god, there's so many. How old are you? I'm 29, like I said. I was born in 1990. Are you married? Nope, I'm not married, you guys. In Izmir, which district do you live in? I actually live in Hatay right now. Müdür. What? Do you watch Bulldozers? Oh my god. Were you graduated from university? If so, what was your department? I studied English, and then I changed my department to dietetics, but I actually didn't finish university because I moved to Turkey, so yes. Okay. Do you like ayran? I'm a vegan, so I can't drink ayran, but before I did like it actually. Adının anlamı ne? Like, what does your name mean? Chelsea means something like the harbor, the sea, like an area in the ocean. Do you have any children? No, I don't. What color are your eyes? My eyes are blue. What do you think about people saying that you are not American? All right, so I have to answer this question. You guys, I am American. Wallah, I'm American. My nationality is completely American. My DNA is 0% Turkish. I took a DNA test back in April, and I am 100% European genetically. My nationality is completely American. Both of my parents are completely American. Grandparents are all American. People have been asking a lot, like, why do I speak so clearly and so slowly? That's because when I created this YouTube channel, I knew that almost all my viewers were going to be watching this in their second language. Like, this wasn't going to be their native language. That's why I try to speak like very clearly. I try not to use any phrasal verbs or anything that's too advanced, because I know people won't be able to understand it. So I was doing that intentionally. I don't normally enunciate all my words this much, but I want people to be able to understand this channel, and a lot of people have written comments like, oh, I can't believe it, I understood everything she said. It's the first time I've watched someone and I understood everything they said. And like, I totally understand that. Like, that makes me so happy when I see people who, you know, are able to practice their English by watching my videos. That makes me so happy. So I am absolutely not Turkish in any way, shape, or form. Before coming to Turkey, I didn't speak any Turkish. Not that that would matter. I don't think that would affect my viewers, even if I had hypothetically known Turkish before coming to Turkey, I don't think anyone would not watch my videos because of that. And also, like, if I really were Turkish, don't you think that somebody would, like, come out and say, hey, I know that girl. We went to high school together in friggin' Sivas or Rize, or I don't know, like, somebody would say, she's not American, that's Gizem from Gaziantep, or something like that. Somebody would show, like, we went to high school together, here's our pictures. But I'm not Turkish, like, literally. The reason I haven't posted videos for 3 weeks is because I've been so busy doing my visa, and if I were Turkish, I wouldn't need a visa. That is that is just the pinnacle of frustration. But anyway, you guys, it's totally like, there's that. Anyway, you guys, I think that's it for now. That's enough questions before it gets too boring, but thank you guys for those who sent them, and I will try to make more videos in the future. I will definitely make some more like vlogs and videos now that my visa's done. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and definitely please, like, in the comments, let me know what videos you want me to make. It's always good to get you guys' feedback, and I know that you're always honest, so thank you so much. I hope you guys liked this video. If you have any more questions, you can leave them below and maybe I can answer them. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for watching. I will see you soon, guys. Bye!